Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, everyone. I am Rabbi Jenny Greenspan here at Congregation Beth-El in Indianapolis, doing our weekly Shabbat morning Torah Talks. Good morning and welcome. This morning we will be reading from Parashat Shoftim, which means Judges, which is, of course, we are in the thick of the book of Deuteronomy. As usual, if you would like to follow along with me in the Etz Chaim Chumash, you can go to bez613.org. You can go under the worship menu. You can select our Shabbat resources and scroll down to where it says Torah Talk and virtual Shabbat services resources. And you will there see the link that says Etz Chaim, so you can download this week's Torah portion from the Etz Chaim Chumash if you don't have a physical copy at home. And of course, if you have a Chumash that is not an Etz Chaim, you can use that as well. So we'll gather our resources. Today I will be looking at chapter 20, verse 19, if you want to follow along from the actual verse. But we'll get to that in a minute because I'm not quite, I want to land there, but I actually don't want to start from there. We're going to start somewhere else. But first, I want to, of course, welcome everyone. Say Shabbat Shalom and good morning to the Sclares. Good morning to Michael Kahn. Shabbat Shalom to Alan Hamburger and Jim Roth. Shabbat Shalom, Jody. I hope you can hear and that we'll get to share the time with you. If anyone else is stuttering, go ahead and let me know so that I know whether it's on my end or not. But I'll say Shabbat Shalom and good morning also to Cheryl Tov. It's good to know that so many are joining each morning, and I look forward to doing some learning together today. I actually want to start. We'll get to the verse in Deuteronomy, the verse from our Torah portion, but I actually want to start today a little bit newer, a little more recent than that, with Martin Buber. Oh, and Shabbat Shalom to Carol Steinfeld. Thank you for joining too. With Martin Buber. So Martin Buber was one of the most famous and renowned Jewish philosophers of the 20th century, who wrote the book I, Thou, the book where we are to think about what it is to truly be in a moment of I, Thou, rather than an I, It relationship with anyone and anything in the world. And so he writes, I contemplate a tree. I can accept it as a picture, a rigid pillar in a flood of light, or splashes of green traversed by the gentleness of blue-silver ground. I can feel it as a movement, the flowing veins around the sturdy, thriving core, the sucking of the roots, the breathing of the leaves, the infinite commerce with earth and air, and the growing itself in the darkness. I can assign it to a species and observe it as an instance, with an eye to its construction and its way of life. Throughout all of this, the tree remains my object and has its place and its time span, its kind and condition. But it can also happen if will and grace are joined. Then, as I contemplate the tree, I am drawn into a relation. The tree ceases to be an it. So here we see Martin Buber looking deeply at a tree and trying to get past the physical, the it relationship. What does it provide? What does it look like? What kind of object is it, to use his word? And rather get to an I, thou relationship and thinking more deeply about the relationship of trees, of a tree in the world. So our verse today, the verse from our Parsha Shoftim, I think actually also speaks to a very similar thing and invites us into a similar contemplation as what Martin Buber was offering. Because here, tucked into Parashat Shoftim, the word Shoftim in the name of the Torah portion means judges. If you joined us last night, Rabbi Dennis spoke a little bit about that connection of judges to one of the more famous verses from this Torah portion, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue. If you weren't able to join us, I would encourage going back at some point and listening to his words of thinking about justice and the emphasis of the word Tzedek, the type of justice that is. So this portion contains words about justice, words about law, setting up judges, and the section we're looking at right now with the tree is actually in a section of what the laws of war would be, for the ancient Israelite people. And here we have, in the middle of a section about laws of war, a couple of verses about a tree. So I ask us to hold in mind Martin Buber's suggestions of ways to contemplate the tree, the physical, what does it look like, the movement, what is it doing, whether or not we always see it, the kind of species it is, and then also think about it in relationship to the world as we look at our verse. גרזן, כי ממנו תאכלו, ואותו לא תכרות, כי האדם עץ השדה, לבוא מפניך במצור. When you wage war against a city, you have to besiege it a long time in order to capture it. If that's what's going on, you must not destroy its trees or wield an axe against them. You may eat from them, but you must not cut them down. Are trees of the field human to withdraw before you into the besieged city? We have this verse that says, the trees, when you are waging war, which the Torah seems to have a tacit acceptance that at some point we do and will need to wage wars. But when you are waging war, you may not destroy this tree, the landscape, the thing that God has placed to provide sustenance for human beings. You may not destroy it because it can defend itself. Only trees that you know do not yield food may be destroyed. You may cut them down for constructing siege works against the city that is waging war. It for construction. These two verses, I think, are inviting us to think about the role of trees in the world. Not just what they look like or that they're beautiful or that they're lovely and provide shade, but what do they do for us? On this side, we are in the I-it side of Martin Buber's contemplation. It's food. It's a means of construction. But we should also, in looking at that, look deeper to the I-thou side of Martin Buber's construction. Why can't we destroy trees that provide food? Because they are needed. They are a gift from God in this world to provide food and sustenance to all of us. Why can we occasionally cut down a tree that is that we need for construction so that we can offer ourselves and others shelter and tools? We must not blindly destroy and take advantage and consume from the trees and the environment, aside from the apple or whatever fruit you're picking from the tree. We cannot blindly consume, but rather have a moment of appreciation and gratitude of what it is that the trees are providing. We have to think about what it is we need from them and what they should be providing to others as well after us. I'm sure many of us saw the dire report earlier this week in the New York Times and in other news sources of the tremendous amount of damage that has already been done to our what it is, our environment, not just trees and certainly not just fruit trees, but all that the earth has to offer, all that this gift of creation has been placed to provide for us. We have not done, as a human species, we have not done our best work of having an I-thou relationship with our resources, truly understanding what they can provide and truly making an effort to not destroy them, to not go and cut down trees that others may need, and to not recognize, as the second piece of verse 19 said, that the earth itself cannot defend itself. The earth relies on us to defend it, to care for it, and to, in the words of Genesis, to till the garden, to take care of this planet. So I hope in a week where we have been reminded of how much we have already done that it can be of damage, We're reminded here in our Torah portion what it is we need to do, how to refrain, and that we need to take the moment to contemplate the tree in a true I thou offering. So Shabbat, while you are relaxing, if the weather cools a little bit today, maybe, invite you to take a walk, find a place in nature to really contemplate the trees, to look at the beauty of this world and recognize all that our environment offers us, all of the ways that it cares for us, and contemplate moments and ways that we can become the ones who defend it. I'll say Shabbat Shalom. I hope we have a week of thinking through our own uses and consumptions of this environment, and that we have a moment to take a breath of the air that trees provide for us and to contemplate the tree from an I-thou space. I'll leave it here. Say Shabbat Shalom, and thank you so much for all of you for joining me. Shabbat Shalom to Phyllis Lieber. I see you came in right as I was finishing with my first greetings, but I know you are here, and so good to see everyone. I'll invite you to join us either in the sanctuary or on our live stream at 10 o'clock for our Shabbat morning service. If you will be joining us from the live stream, you can hold on to your Etz Chaim download for your Torah reading, and the Sidur downloads are there as well. So we'll say Shabbat Shalom. I look forward to seeing you, and may we have a week of truly appreciating nature and truly defending it. So we think about ways to defend our environment. Shabbat Shalom.